Yes, we are back at it in the real life, and this week's guest, yes, I've got him. It's Jack Turner. Jack, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. How's
Excellent.
life?
Aye, good man. Enjoying it. Enjoying back boxing. So I can't complain.
You're looking well, mate. You're deep into camp. How's training camp been going?
Training camp's going well. Can't really complain. I probably say it's the best camp that I've had. With kind of nutrition and all that kind of stuff, and training hard. That was usually my downfall, was kind of not eating too good. So I'm kind of focusing myself and really putting myself forward and making sure I'm 100% now. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult sport, like, you know, so I need to keep myself dedicated.
You're campaigning at super bantamweight now. Are you comfortable at that weight, Jack? Is that the weight you feel going forward? You'll get the big challenges in there at that weight category?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a super bantam, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I don't think, me personally, I think any super bantamweight out there, I think I'm more than capable, but obviously that's time. Like we said before we started, this time is everything in boxing, so I just need to trust my team and like saying Wilson and my coach, and I do what they say and I go and get the job done. You're
back out on the 4th of February at the Normandy Hotel. How excited are you, Jack, to getting back in there and do what you do best?
Oh, ecstatic. I think the most I'm buzzing about is how quick Ian's got me back out. I've never really been used to that. It's normally kind of been waiting about or whatever, so he's pushing again and again, so I'm loving that, do you know what I mean? So to get back in there so quick, I'm ecstatic.
What kind of performance can we expect for you, Jack, come the 4th of February?
A clinical one. We've been working a lot and keeping the shots nice and straight. I use my attributes. I need to, do you know what I mean? I'm tall and rangy, so I'm going to be kind of pressing on the front foot by a nice crisp jab and being slick. I think that's I'm a boxer, not a fighter, so I'm just going to kind of box the head off him and be clinical in what I do.
Do you feel the next 12 to 18 months, Jack, this is your time to shine in the sport?
Yeah, 100%. Aye. This is where I take off, I think. I think this is where, that's why I said at the start, like, I need to dedicate myself, because I think this is now where I take that step and push on and start to grab some titles or whatever comes my way.
What's the long-term plan going forward? What's Ian Wilson got in mind for you?
Yeah, we had a brief wee chat. It was actually on I went as a guest at the show at the Normandy, and I stayed with him in the night. We stayed on late at the night, and we got talking, and I think he was like pushing. He said to me we could push for a Celtic and a Scottish title, and then go for there. Do you know what I mean? And he said that's going to be the first ones or whatever. But like I said, I'll put my trust fully in Ian. He gives me an opponent who's got a title, then I'm planning to take that.
Do you feel at this point in your career, Jack, it's consistency that you need?
Yeah, 100%. Consistency is key. So if I don't have that, I don't have anything, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I need to be consistent. I need to be out there. I need to be active. So 100%.
You've got a fantastic attitude. Where did you get that from?
I don't know. I just feel kind of adopted it as I went along. I've always kind of been a lone soldier. Do you know what I mean? So I've always had to kind of big myself up and do my own thing. Never really had a kind of tight community. So I've always just been like, do you know what? My confidence always been, I'm doing it.
Do you feel your heart and desire will take you, also, and your style as well, take you far in the sport, Jack?
Aye, definitely. 100%. I reckon I'll be a name, yeah. I've always said that. I just need to dedicate myself and commit myself to the sport, and I don't see myself not being a big name in boxing, do you know what I mean?
Do you feel that each fight you will learn something new, and as each fight comes on you'll face new challenges and you'll see the better Jack Turner every single fight?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the thing is that you go along these fighters and the styles. It was mad when people said to me about amateurs, oh, it's totally different sport. I always used to go, how can it be different with fight? And I had my first pro fight and I was like, oh, right, okay, hold on a minute, this is completely different. And when I came out, I was like, that's tough. Do you know what I mean? These boys are gritty and they want to fight, and you have to learn to keep your head, keep the cool and all that, and stick behind the game plan. So I think for me, that's a big thing, sticking behind the game plan, but also learning the wee tricks of the trade. But I definitely think as I go on, I'll learn a lot more and a lot more.
Do you believe you can go all the way, Jack?
Yeah, 100%. No, not even any questions and doubts.
What's the end goal?
The end goal is, I think everybody's got it, haven't they? Like world champion, all that. But I think world champion, maybe I'd love to unify a division like Josh Taylor done and all that. Do you know what I mean? That's the dream. Yeah. I want to see. I've watched all the stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I've manifested that. I see that happening. From
your attitude, mate, you're clearly in love with the sport. Would it fair to say you've sacrificed a lot to get to where you're at this moment in time?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I didn't. This camp coming up, like, I didn't have a Christmas this year, really. Do you know what I mean? The food and all that, I had to watch what I was doing. When I was back in the amateurs, I think I went 4 years every birthday I was in a training camp. Do you know what I mean? Going with Scotland.
Aye.
I was in a training camp for every birthday. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't have it any other way. I look at some of my mates and all that, and you see them, and I love how they live their life. They go out to have parties and enjoy themselves. But for me, that just doesn't satisfy me. I think me going to a gym and fighting, that's my go-to.
How hard was it at that young age? You're people at party and drinking, all that kind of stuff and whatnot. How did you steer yourself away from all that? How did you? You need to be very disciplined to do that, especially when you're young as well. And you're still young as well.
Yeah, I don't really know. I just always just stay. I think when I went into the sport, it was just a case of I fell in love with it instantly. So I knew that this is all I wanted to do, and understood for a right young age that I had to really dedicate myself. And I've never really been a drinker. I think I've drank like 3 times in my life. Do you know what I mean? And it's just never been something for me. So I've always just kind of committed myself to my sport. And I'll not say I've been 100% all the time. I fell away and all that and been like, ugh, I'm bored going to training and all that. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't. Do you know what I mean? But I've always, in my head, went, right, I need to grind. Let's go. When it's go time, it's go time.
Yeah, having that momentum.
You've got to. Do you know what I mean? But I have definitely took the wee back foot and been like, oh, especially in lockdown. See, with COVID, I think that was a big factor. That I had to I was like, right, Jack, you need to go and start training.
Speaking of COVID there, how have you remained focused through COVID? How have you kept yourself in that correct path? It's been difficult, especially for sportsmen. Mega difficult. How have you stayed focused through this whole time? It
was difficult. I think for me, at the start of COVID, I know there was no fighting and all that. That's when I've been at my heaviest. Like, I don't know, I'm going to sit too heavy.
Right.
And I think I went back and checked my weight one day, and I was like 66, 67 kilo. I boxed at 55 and a half at title weight, and I was like, oh, right, something's not right here. So I ended up making myself do a David Goggins challenge. It was like run 4 miles every 4 hours for 40 hours.
He's
he's unbelievable. So that just triggered something in my mind to go, right, train, back to training. But for me, it was doing that, and simple as just going on YouTube and watching boxing. It triggers something, and you go, right, I need to get back to this.
Do you believe mindset's everything in the sport?
100%. You don't have a good, strong mindset, especially when you go in the trenches, you're done for. Do you know what I mean? You need to be strong-minded. I don't care if it's someone out there that thinks they're terrible, man. You just keep telling yourself you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, regardless of what anybody says. Do you know what I mean? You're the best. I found that for a young age. I always get doubted, like, I'm better than that, I'm the best. So I've always kind of had that, to be fair.
Let's run it back, mate. You're brought up in Castle Milk. How was your upbringing?
Upbringing was good, bit mad at points, do you know what I mean? No dad, that kind of thing, but it was good. It was just a wee bit mad. Grew up, obviously I'm a scheme boy, so I think it was just difficult. My mum's a diamond, do you know what I mean? My dad, he was on the drugs and all that, so he was in a prison his whole life. He done all that, but for my mum, it was she was actually the one that got me into boxing. She said my uncle had opened a gym. So my uncle through marriage, Archie Dury, he owns he's got Dury's ABC. She took me to that. So through that, that's how it all kind of started. Her and my brother Gareth, they both took me, and from there it just kind of the ball rolling. But as I said, she's been a diamond, and my whole family's been amazing. But like I said, we all had a bit of a tough time. I wouldn't go too deep into it, but I don't dwell on the past. It's done with. I tried to rekindle a relationship with my dad, didn't work, so therefore I just cut ties, and I just thought, do you know what, back to just focusing on myself, my mum, and the sport. Do you know what I mean? Because that's who I do it for. Do you know what I mean? I love the sport and everything, but everything I do it for my wee man. Do you know what I mean?
How hard was it growing up without a dad? Did you find it difficult at times?
At points, I see when you see other people around about you, and I've got like their father and all that about them, and you see that it was a hard thing, but it was mad because I had my granda. He was like my father figure, do you know what I mean? And my granda was everything, so I ended up moving in with my gran and granda. And that was more like, I used to call him dad and all that, do you know what I mean? I'd do things like that, and we had that close bond, so I was lucky to have that. Whether like, that way, I wouldn't see him as, I never seen him as a dad, even in a chatty kinder relationship, it just wasn't there.
Okay.
It just, he was very childlike in the head, do you know what I mean? Wanted to talk about what he'd done and all the bad things. I'd be like, listen, all I looked for was someone to go, oh, I'm proud of you, and that was my fault. I should never have looked for that, and that's what I think what hurt the most. You're looking for someone to go, I'm proud of you for what you've done, but it was a total opposite. He never done that, so I was just from there, I went, nah man, done. And I just thought, you know what, you don't need anybody to be proud of you, just be proud of yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Would it be fair to say that your mum sacrificed a lot for you to get to where you're at today?
Oh, 1,000,000%. I remember as like I'd get given a last bit of money to have bus fare up to a gym. Do you know what I mean? Like we had absolutely nothing. And I remember giving us the last bit of money just to have bus fare to go up to a gym. We'd wake up, there'd be no leck in the house, there'd be nothing, do you know what I mean? You'd be sitting there going, oh, but she'd always make sure I had boxing stuff and I was at my boxing all the time. Do you know what I mean? There would be never doubts in that.
Was there any negativity around you at that young age? Because growing up with a single parent, it's difficult. You can go down that wrong path. And how did you keep yourself in the straight and narrow? Was that with the good guidance with your mum and your granddad, as you said there?
Yeah, aye. That guidance was amazing. My mum was, to believe it or not, she had her negative spots. Oh, is this for you? Yeah. I remember the first time she ever seen me skipping boxing. She thought skipping was all you need to be able to skip, you're not a boxer. And she seen me and she went, oh, this isn't for him. That's what she said to me. And on that day I said to her, I'll be able to skip within a couple of weeks, and I had it under wrap. So I had that negativity, do you know what I mean? It's bizarre because just recently I thought I had a lot of people, family members who were close to me, who were rooting for me, but now recently I've just realised with stuff that I get sent messages and all that, and people telling me that they actually want to see me fail, which is unbelievable. That hurt really bad. Do you know what I mean? That hurt really bad. How
did you take that? Because that's difficult. Boxing's such a very lonely sport. You need good people around about you, whether it be family, your trainer. How did you cope with that when they kind of distance themselves from you?
That girl over there, she's sitting over there, she's kept me like that. Do you know what I mean? She's been absolutely class with me.
How did you go into school?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. So as I said, it's that I'm dyslexic, so sorry. I was never academic inclined. Can't really read or anything great or spell. She helps me with that as well. So it's been difficult. So I got expelled in 5th year. Went through school getting bullied probably up till about 4th, 5th year, and then I just ended up rebelling and going a bit mad. And they kind of chucked me out. So it was boxing all the way for there. I knew if I don't succeed in this, man, I was done for.
Would it be fair to say there a lot of negativity around you when you were young, like bullying at the school and things like that?
Yeah.
You were so close to going, oh, where did I go with this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. There was points I wanted to give up. 100%. Especially I was tiny in school. Do you know what I mean? I was so small, so I was a target for the get go. I was a size 13 in shoe before I won. Do you know what I mean? I'm still only a 5 now. So I was tiny. So people were like, oh, you'll never be a boxer. I remember I think he's I can't even remember it. Something Coyle. He was a boxer. I think he won the Westerns and all that. And I remember my PE teacher saying to me, if you do half as good as he does, you'll do all right. And he's like, but I don't see you really doing anything with boxing. So he said to me, I can never really see you doing it. You're too small and all that. And I was like, all right. And for an adult to tell you that as a kid, you're going, oh, am I too small? And then that's when I get my first glimpse in, nah, excuse my language, but I was like, fuck you. I was like, no chance. And I think I won things you could only imagine to win, the boy he was telling me about, do you know what I mean?
See, when you heard the comments, did it give you that extra fire in your belly that somebody said to you, you can't do this? Maybe as you said there, fuck you, no, I will do this.
Don't tell me not to do something, don't care what it is, don't tell me not to do it, man. It's just I've got a switch in my head that just goes, no, let's go. Do you know what I mean? I've always been like that, waiting. If you tell me not to do something, I'm doing it 100,000,000%. You
touched on Becca 2 seconds ago there. There's a saying, mate, a man with dreams needs people around him who believe in him. Would it be fair to say that your family, Becca, they believe in you? And how vital is it to have the people around about you at this time and stage in your life?
Yeah, amazing. Especially as it gets harder in the sport. Do you know what I mean? I'm in the pro ranks now, and it's getting difficult. It's a hard sport, so to have them about me is phenomenal. My mum and Becca, they're the two main ones. They're phenomenal with me. Do you know what I mean? They keep me going. I look at my wee mum and I always see the vision. I'm like, right, okay, this is what it's for. It's for her, it's for her, it's for her. If I don't feel like training, I look at her and go, it's for her. Do you know what I mean? So to have the two by my side is insane. They keep me so focused and grounded and make sure that I'm 100%. Do you know what I mean? So without them, I'm nothing, man.
Would it be fair to say your mum's so proud of you at this moment in time? She ever say to you, listen, look, you've done really well, son, but I can see you doing so much. You can do a lot more. You'll be a world champion. Did you give you the words of wisdom ever?
I don't think I've ever heard my mum say I'm proud of you. Believe it or not, I don't think I've ever. She's got me in such a pedestal that, like, my mum's not the type to say love you or anything. My mum's never said love you or anything to us or anything like that. So we were brought up quite, you know that. So It's been tough, but she's never actually said she's proud of me, believe it or not. But I know she is. Like I know she is. Do you know what I mean? But she definitely says to me. One thing she always says to me, when you win the world title, I want the green belt. That's what she says. She says I love the green belt. So the WBC. So she's got her. No, I mean she's high. Her standards are high, which I love.
Fantastic. What brought you to boxing initially, Jack?
Probably the bullying. That kind of pushed me forward. And like I said, my mum and that, they kind of brought me to it. So from the day one, like when she said I couldn't skip, I was like, right, okay, I need to prove her wrong. I've always had that. Like any of my family will tell you that. Tell me, like you said, I can't do something, I'm doing it. So I think that's, and then first punch in a bag, first time I get punched in the face. I remember my first bar was with a full grown man. Do you know what I mean? And I get rattled about, and I was just like, oh, I love this. Like, then my dream, after my first wee dream was I want to battle that man. Do you know what I mean? That was the first dream. So yeah, it went for there.
Did it give you that aggressive energy from being bullied and things like that? All that anger out of you in there?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So I think it worked in its wrong way as well, because I became quite aggressive. Like even when outside of it, and if something happened, I was quite. You know what I mean? And I felt like if someone stepped on my toes, I had to deal with it right away. And if I didn't, I felt like I was going back to that. Where just recently, I've been able to go, do you know what, just leave it. Do you know what I mean? So I know my capabilities. I'm like, I don't even need to be showing people. I just leave whatever bad happens. I just get out of my way. Do you know what I mean?
Except for the skipping, did the sport come natural to you?
Yeah, definitely. I felt the fighting and that just became, I don't know, I felt I'd done it before. Everybody's kind of said that, do you know what I mean? I like, my coach says that to me as well, like you're naturally talented, and sometimes I was relying on that. That was kind of a downfall. So sometimes I've got to be like right, hard on myself, like Jack, train. But I felt the sport just we kind of clicked. It was like a relationship. Do you know what I mean? We fell in love. So
a marriage.
Yeah, exactly. A marriage. We fell in love. Sometimes I've got to divorce it, but we fell in love, and I'll always be there. Do you know what I mean?
When did you realise that, you know what, I'm not bad at this sport, I can do alright here?
I think from my first fight. I remember my first fight going to Newton Hill, used to stand in the scales, and if someone was round about your weight, you'd fight that day. So I always remember it. I fought a boy, Jake Stack, that was his name. I weighed in at 31.8 kilo, I'll never forget it. And I stopped him in the second round, and I just remember from there, I was like, I'm good at this. Like, I'm really good at this. I think my third fight, I get shafted in the Western Districts final. I beat a boy, Scott Cummins, in semis, and then a boy, he's for Greenock, I can't even remember his last name. I boxed him, and it was actually Ricky Burns that gave us a medal. I've still got the pictures. I get shafted in the final, and I thought, never again, man. And I think I won the Westerns for like 6 years in a row after that. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, no, never again, that's not happening. So I knew from then, like, I'm good at this. Do you know what I mean?
What takes you away from the sport? What things you do outside of boxing? What's your kind of vice outside of boxing?
I'm a mad adrenaline junkie, ain't I? So I love like motorbikes and all that kind of stuff. And
I've seen the pictures on Instagram.
I love my Surron and all that kind of stuff. So I love like things like that. So anything that potentially can cause death, I'm like, well, get on that. I love it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think Becca loves it as much, but I love it. It's dangerous. So I'm into all that stuff. Yeah, I get shouted at for it. Do you know what I mean, Jack? You shouldn't be doing that, but listen, I enjoy it.
Boys will be boys.
Aye, that's it. We love it.
I mean? Aye, definitely.
Absolutely love it.
Prior to lockdown, mate, you were doing a bit of PTs 1-on-1s with a few of the Celtic players. How did that all come about, Jack?
So we had my coaches and I had a cryotherapy machine for recovery, and we had a few of the boys in, and we asked, because we had the champ come in, and before he came in, he messaged me about boxing. And I thought he messaged me about cryo, and he's like, no, I want to do the boxing, I've seen it. So I got in Cham in at first, and that's how it kind of all came about, like through the cryo. And I got meeting the boys, I'm still talking to them, still friendly with them. And so I had like in Cham, Edward, Julian, and Aya all in. Do you know what I mean? I think I had Bolingoli as well at one point. It was just, that was for me, as you know, like, as we're coming to nowhere in Celtic, that's a dream come true for me. Do you know what I mean? So to have them in was good. But it's that kind of went from there. I loved it. It was funny actually. Big IR messaged me the other day asking when I was fighting, he'd like to come through. So did Jam, because he's a huge boxing fan. he's always sending me videos of him boxing and all that. So I love it. Do you know what I mean? I think these boys played for Celtic and like they're talking. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's class.
You're a big Celtic man. How good was that experience when they first get in touch with you?
Oh, out of this world. I was like a kid in Christmas. Do you know what I mean? It was like winning a fight. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is dynamite. This is what I'm talking about. So yeah, that was a feeling like no other. Do you know what I mean?
Who hit the hardest at the lot of them?
Oh, and Jam. Yeah.
Miles, aye.
Oh, Miles, like by Miles. He was crisp. He was really, really good actually. I think he'd fought before. He'd said that when he was younger. I think he'd actually fought. He was really good. Aye.
Sorted out with the tickets and that for the Old Firm
Aye,
stuff.
sort me out with tickets
Easy.
and all that. Aye, like no bother. Still to this day, Julian sorts me out with tickets and all that. Julian sorted me out too at Hampden and that, the cup final. So they've all been class with me. Unbelievable.
Still keep in touch with all of them, or just like Julie and I are?
I still keep in touch with them all. Like always make they're either like my pictures or commenting or I'm messaging them saying like congratulations or whatever, and we keep in a good contact and we have chats and all that. So it's good. We still keep in contact.
You're a grafter, Jack. I can see that with your boxing, your PTs and that. But how are the PTs going? You enjoying it?
Oh, I love it. Like the way I look for it, like I said, it's like I try and revolve everything around boxing, so that's boxing related for me. And it shows somebody what I've learnt. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing. I've watched some of my clients' progress, and I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable, man. And like I said, I don't care where I get to in the sport. When I get to world titles and all that, and I'm at the pinnacle of it, I would still do 1-to-1s with people. Just free of charge then. I wouldn't need the dough.
Mate, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
Aye, that's true. Do you know what I mean? That's 100% true. But I must admit, I think I'd just stick to that for the rest of my days. I love it. It's just to see people do it.
Do you get a buzz out of it when you see somebody comes in, they're kind of out of shape, out of weight, things like that, and you get them down, you boil them down to a certain weight and they're working through a training programme? Do you get a good buzz out of that, Jack?
Yeah, oh, amazing. It's unbelievable. I've had a boy actually he was my first ever client, 2 years, boy Copeland, and I've took him sparring and everything, I've seen him stop boys and all that, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm like, that's what I've kind of passed on to him, do you know what I mean? And but to be fair, the boy's dedicated, like, he's in with me like 3-4 times a week, he trains hard, he's out messaging me like pictures, 5Ks running and all that, so he's fell in love with it, and that's what he said to me, he'd love to go amateur and fight. So that for me is like, I've started a wee spark for somebody. That's a big buzz for me.
Let's go on to your amateur career. You had a stellar amateur career, Jack. Over 140 fights, 7 Scottish titles.
Yeah.
It's not too shabby, mate. You did no bad in there.
Aye, not too bad. Yeah, something I look back on actually, and at the time I wasn't too impressed. And I think now I go, Jesus, man, that's for somebody who's the first in my family to ever boxed. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. That's how I knew, like, when you say it back, like, that's how I knew I was good at the sport. Do you know what I mean? But aye, it's what a career, man, in the amateur. I love it. Do you know what I mean?
Who's the best you faced in amateurs?
Cash. 100% Cash. We fought in the Hearts Stadium in Edinburgh, and what a fight. He's 100% the best I've faced. Lee's up there as well. Lee was good. I like Lee and all that, but I wasn't overly impressed back in the amateurs. Now he's obviously, but the way everybody was talking, I was never overly impressed. Do you know what I mean? And I felt I won that fight and all. The fight with Cash, it was just a quality fight. I loved it. Did
you dispute a lot of your losses in the amateur game that you should have won?
Yeah, 100%. I remember being in the British and all that and getting absolutely shafted. I think honestly the majority of my losses that have been horrendous decisions. Really, really bad. Do you know what I mean? I remember fighting first time I'd ever been put out in the prelims of the Scottish. I fought a boy, Ryan. Oh, last names I'm terrible with, and we battered him, and he got a decision, and it was all because they wanted an Edinburgh final with Lee McGregor than him, and it was like, and I'm talking, we battered him, like gave him an 8 count and all that, and I'm going like,
robbed here.
And it was I think they gave it a unanimous decision as well. That's when I knew. I was like, wait a minute, like.
That's the downside of amateur boxing. It stinks. Absolutely. Look at Mick Conlon. There's things like that. You're like, come on.
Like you said, eBay, man, they're rotten.
And it's not that. People don't realise, see the stress and the pressure that goes into this sport.
Yep. And
then they get something like that took away from you. You know you clearly won it. It must hurt.
That's the worst. That's a pain like no other. Do you know what I mean? You go home and you're the only one lying there at night and you're sitting going, what did I do, man, to deserve that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
were you content with your achievements through the amateur game?
Yeah, aye. I wouldn't. I think the only thing I'd love to have done was the Commonwealth Games, and I think Alex Arthur thing we done that and all, like that was a spot that was took away from me unrightfully. Do you know what I mean?
I seen that tweet for Alec and he was mega disappointed. Then, but you're disappointed yourself not get to the Gold Coast.
Aye, I was gutted. I wouldn't say disappointed. I was gutted that they threw me off that because I wouldn't sit back and just take the coaches like they're shite. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, like I don't think that's right. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of favouritism, and my face didn't fit. And I think they took Vicky Glover, which is class. Like I like Vicky. Vicky's done class as a fighter. Do you know what I mean? She's a class wee lassie, but I felt like my spot given away was like I was like thought it was out of order. Especially Alex saying I was one of the medal hopefuls. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was disgusting the way they done me.
And that's the thing with Alec. He knows the game. He's a boxing encyclopedia.
Aye.
Nice guy. Knows the sport institute. Great on the media.
Yeah.
He knows it all. And if he's saying it,
you know it's right. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Alex is not going to beat around the bush and talk shite to you. And as a guy, he's unbelievable, and as a pundit, he's unbelievable, man. He knows his shit. Do you know what I mean? He really, really does.
Yeah, he's fantastic. A great ambassador for Scottish boxing. But you started out at Jury's gym. Is Archie your uncle?
Archie's my uncle. So uncle through marriage. He was married to my auntie, so not uncle anymore. But he got divorced to my auntie. So, but I still call him uncle. Do you know what I mean? He started us off. So that's how it all began.
A lot of good memories for Jury's.
Yeah, hunters. God, I remember this. The stuff the first ever time I went to his gym, man, it was held up with scaffolding poles. Do you know what I mean? It was scaffolding poles and rope, it was tied round it, and it was just, for me, I didn't understand, but now I go, that's a boxing gym. Do you know what I mean? All this top of the art shite. I'm like, nah, man, a boxing gym. I fight in halls that when you could smell the smoke in the pubs and all that. Do you know what I mean? You're like, this is dynamite.
Guys, man, they're brilliant.
Aye, like that's the best. Do you know what I mean? So for that, I look and I go, aye, it started out good, man. Dudes has been amazing with me.
And they've still got a good setup down there as well. They're doing great. It's absolutely really fantastic. Good. But for then, you moved on to Hayfield with Joe Ham.
Joe Ham, aye.
How good was Joe?
Joe was a great coach, aye. Really, really good coach. Great guy as well. I think that's when I left Joe at the end to go with Alec. And that's when things we didn't go off in too good terms. But I'd always had mass respect for Joe. Like, he's a cracking guy, and what he done for us, man, he sacrificed a lot. He would take us sparring everywhere, do everything with us. So as a person and as a coach, aye, phenomenal. He's
got a great stable as well. Nathaniel, Regan Glatton, great fighters.
Yep.
But on a whole, how good was the journey with Joe?
Yeah, class, unbelievable. Joe kind of moulded me as a fighter and all. Do you know what I mean? And I knew his style and all that. And he was good, really, really good.
Did you learn a lot from him?
Aye, I learned quite a bit. I think we all maybe fought the same a bit too much. Like if I look back, like we all had similar styles. Whether when I went with Davey and I switched over, like I remember being in Morrison's and when I turned over and I didn't have a coach because I'd left Alec because everything was just too long distance and all that.
Travelling
all that. It was just too long.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in Morrison's and he never even said a word to me, Davey. He just went, go in shadow box. That's all he said to me. And he looked and I'd done my 6 rounds and he went, shite. And I was like, right? And I was like, what's shite? And he said, you're punching like a T-Rex, like the size of you and all that. And for the first time in I don't know how long someone had said that to me, I thought, oh, that's class. Someone's just said I'm shite. This is brilliant. You're
getting that hunger again.
Like, oh, I'm going to prove to him I can do this. Do you know what I mean? And then that's not all went for there. But Joe had us all kind of back to that boxing a wee bit similar. But now he's got everybody boxing different and all that in the pro style. I think Joe's more suited to the pro game. Do you know what I mean? 100%.
He's got a great stable down as we touched on. Nathaniel, Commonwealth champion, fantastic. Regan Glatton, such a dedicated professional.
Yes.
Touching on those two there, do you feel those two guys I just mentioned, Regan and Nathaniel, do you believe they can go all the way as well? With the right mindset and the right, but they're dedicated fighters. Have they got what it takes to go all the way?
Oh, 100%, aye. If they keep at it, 100%. They've just, like we said, we've got to keep focused at me, but I definitely believe so. Two great people. So I think the both of them, if they keep doing what they're doing, man, I don't see them, especially Regan. I've got Regan on social media, man. He's a grafter, and it's mad. Like, he'll tell you yourself, see through the amateurs and all that, Regan wasn't a grafter. I swear, not like you'd always kind of miss things. he wouldn't really train as hard, but now he's a monster, man. He trains like a demon.
Aye, I think he didn't go to sleep. He said it 4-1 run. Everybody, didn't he?
4 and all that.
Aye, that's good to see that as well.
Aye, that's unreal. Do you know what I mean? It's the same for wee Casty. I've never seen anybody train like this lassie. Like, she doesn't post anything on social media. That's different with Casty. Like, and she's up at 4:30, 5 every morning out running and all that. So that kind of stuff. See for Reagan and Cass and all that, and I'm doing it for this camp, so it's difficult, but it's what you need to do to get there.
You go way back with Cassie, don't you?
Yeah, way back. We went to the amateurs and all that together, and
Nathaniel as well, didn't you?
Nathaniel as well. We were all pals. Me, Nathaniel, Cass, we used to hang about with each other and all that. Do you know what I mean? So I remember being in the dancing, me and Nathaniel drinking water. Do you know what I mean? So me and Nathaniel used to be best mates. So it just kind of fizzled out, and I ended up getting a girlfriend at one point, and you know what it's like. I ended up going with Alec Morrison's granddaughter. I was with her for 5 years, so I ended up going with her and just fizzled the relationship. It's something I'm always gutted about. I wish I never done it the way I done it. It was kind of snidey from my part, in all honesty. We kind of fell out because I picked a girl over really my pal, which was wrong. But Nathaniel and Casty, great people, man. Aye.
You spent a lot of good time with them, aye?
Aye, amazing time. Do you know what I mean? Great people. I always have mad love for them. Do you know what I mean?
Best mates in boxing.
Yeah, aye, definitely. If one person, if there was any people I want to see do really, really well, would have been Cash, who was obviously amazing. Casty and Nathaniel. They were the people I really want to see do great.
Just touching on Cash, just the last few weeks there were some devastating news that he had to retire for the sport of boxing at such an early age, 26 years of age. How gutted were you for Cash? Just give your thoughts on the whole situation.
When I seen it, I was like, what was a post? I don't know. I hadn't even really read the post, and I'm like, oh, something must be going on. Oh, he must be fighting soon. I've started reading through, and I'm going, yeah, like that was, my heart sank, literally sank, because I spar Cash all the time, and I remember being in the gym and he's like, oh Jack, it's tough, man, but I'm loving it. I travel the world, the money's good, I get to do what I love. And he was talking to me, and I'm going, all I could think of was, what's that poor boy going to do now, man? Like, I don't understand like what's going on here. But I think Ian and Cash and that have made the best decision to hang up the gloves before it gets worse. Do you know what I mean? I think they've made the right decision. But for me, that's heartbreaking, because he's the most genuine. He's such a lovely boy, man. Like, you couldn't meet a nicer person. I've never came across anybody nice on the sport. He's just genuine, heart of gold, the boy. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that was a sore one to take, man. To see that Scottish boxing and St Andrews lost a great asset. Do you know what I mean? So my heart goes out to him.
Do you believe Cash Fruit was a world champion in the making?
Oh, 100%. There's no any questions about that. Like, Cash would have held world titles. I don't think a world champion. I think he would have held world titles. And the boy was just phenomenal, man. His movement, he's just as an all-round fighter, he's unreal. He was a world champion, 100%.
He's like a throwback fighter. I always say it in these podcasts that I do, that it was if you had Jake LaMotta and James Toney and you cut them in half and put them together, that's Cash.
That's Cash, 100%. That's exactly who it is. Crazy. He was so unique, wasn't he? He was just unbelievable. What a fighter. And it must be hard, because all you've done to that boy, that's happened to that boy, is his world title's just been took away, because it was there. It was in reach, and it's just been took away by something so shocking. Do you know what I mean? And hard to take. What
impressed you most about Cash as a person, but also as a fighter?
It's obvious. As a person, so lovely. As a fighter, he's a monster. And there's two switches. Soft spoken, so nice, always greets you. You go and spar him or fight him, he's a monster. It's take your head off time. Do you know what I mean? And how that boy stayed in the pocket, man, and just leathered people and just swept in and out of shots was just insane.
The thing, he'd had that half step. He could take back and take the sting out the shots that was coming back. People love his defence. I thought he had a great defence, Cash.
Unbelievable defence. The way we take a half set, he'd ride the shots unbelievably. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, when I'd watch fights, I'd always get, it'd be nail biting fights, because he's staying in there for long. Do you know what I mean? But he had an unbelievable defence. It was trending on Twitter and all that, wasn't it, after every fight. That just shows you the boy was.
When you get guys like Barry Jones and Alex Steadman, they rave about him. They love the way his style was, and that it was absolutely fantastic. But you touched on there just that you sparred Cash a lot. What did you learn for these spars in there when you sparred Cash?
With Cash, it was learning Do you know what I mean? I'm massive for the weight, so I'd be fighting like smaller people. So for me, I learnt it's going to be very hard to keep somebody at distance. That's what I really learnt. Do you know what I mean? And I learnt that like his head movement and all that, and watching him and how he would hold the shots up and his hand would come up and he'd pull shots down and close he'd nudge you. So I learnt all that kind of stuff, do you know what I mean? And just to experience that, it's been frightening. I'd love to go sit and have a chat with him and just tell me some of his experiences and learn from him, do you know what I mean? Because he's done some major things.
That's the thing. See his fight with Lee McGregor, and I'm serious when I say this, right? Mm-hmm. I believe they two could have been the Gatti World of Scottish boxing. Oh. They could have 3 and 4 fights, world titles, rematches. That fight, I'm being serious, and I'm talking Burns Mitchell, Arthur Gomez. That fight is up there with one of the best fights ever seen in the Scottish ring.
Aye, 100%. No mistake in that. Do you know what I mean? That was frightening. They could have. You could have just kept putting them on every week, and it would have felt it was stadiums. Do you know what I mean? There would have been no dip in atmosphere with that. That was just an unbelievable fight to watch you two. Aye, that's up there. That's really up there.
I'm gutted for Lee as well, because they were dance partners. They two were dance partners. Lee's just signed with Probellum in the matchroom kind of thing, and then Cash's way matchroom. That was a big fight coming up for Scottish boxing. It's just such a sad way the way it's went.
Yeah.
And but the most important thing is that Cash Farouk retires with all his faculties in place, and that is the most important thing. I'm just going to say one thing as well. Ian Wilson, take a bow. Because what they have done, they've got that man a job. Wasting Andrews is a heady talent.
Yep.
That man will be a success. If he puts in 30% of the effort he did as a fighter, as a trainer, heady talent, this man will be an absolute success. Would you agree?
Aye, 100%. There's no doubt. And like you said, Ian Wilson is just, that man's just deserves a round of applause. Do you know what I mean? He's great. He's even as outside of the boxing thing, like getting him into the head of talent, like as a promoter, you can't understand it, man. Like, it's such a personal touch, and he cares for you. Ian just phones you just to see how you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. I've never had that. Just, how you doing, Jack? What's this? And this, and then we got to talk about Celtic and all that. Do you know what I mean? Just talk about normal things, and then he'd be like, right, have a good one. Need it and phone me. And then what he's done for Cash is just, Ian's just a gem, man, an absolute gem.
How have you find the switch for MTK to St Andrews night and day?
Aye, night and day, easy. The best thing I've ever done in my life. MTK were class, but just Ian Wilson's just on another level, man, with personal touch. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, see what they've done with Cash. That'll bring a tear to an eye. That seriously, just how they've looked after that guy. Because you look at fighters in boxing, they go down that slippery road. They Ian go one way or the other, and it doesn't always end well. But credit to Ian and the team down there. Absolutely fantastic. We're just touching something else. Obviously, you turned pro in March 2019, Jack. What were your goals of turning pro?
I think for turning over was because of the scunner of the Commonwealth Games. So then I went, right, do you know what, really time to chase the world titles. That was it. I was like, right, I want to chase titles. So I need to commit myself and start a new path. I was buzzing to get away from the amateurs. Like, as much as I loved it, I was so excited to get away from it because it was just full of arseholes, man. I wasn't really liked by the Scotland coaches or anything, so I was always getting put in the back burner, and I'd be like, seeing the fighters going ahead of me, I'd be looking at them going, what's going on here, man? Like, and they weren't taking me anywhere at points, just because I'd say things that if I didn't like it, I'd be like, listen, I don't feel that's right. And I think that's rightfully so. I'm the one that's in there. Do you know what I mean? I remember fighting in the British, and it was get back to the corner and I'm boxing head off the boy, leather on the boy. And the Scotland coach done that to me. If you don't go out here and stand in the middle ring and fight, don't come back to this corner. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this can't be right. I was like, the guy's never had a fight in his life, and he's telling me to stand in the middle of the ring and just square it up with somebody when I'm winning a fight comfortably. So for me, I was like, nah, I'm done with the amateurs. Time to kind of chase what I want, my dreams, as I've watched as a boy. Do you know what I mean? I'm really looking forward to see what it's like to have that hand raised when they hear the and the new. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm looking forward to, when you hear that and the new.
A spade's a spade with you, innit?
Yeah, aye. That's
it. You see what you get.
Aye, there's no beating around the bush. I'm not going to put on a false thing with anybody. Do you know what I mean? If they don't like me, then that's up to you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to try and please everybody, but I'd say I'm quite a likeable character, and I just try and be myself. I don't like the fakeness or any false kind of stuff.
See, when you turned over from amateur to pro in your first pro fight, did you feel the differences straight away? Did it take you a bit of time to adapt when you were in there?
It took me a bit of time to adapt. I'd say even that with the first fight, like, I didn't box great. Do you know what I mean? It was I never boxed really great, so it was. I knew it was going to be tough. That's when I said to you, I went, oh shit, this is different. Do you know what I mean? And in the second fight, I started to find my feet a wee bit, my movement and all that, and understand I can still. I was thinking I need to stand there and just start trading. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, what am I doing that for? But it was difficult.
You signed with MTK initially. What was the main reason for leaving? Did you speak to Danny Vaughan? Was it due to activity and things like that? Tell me
Yeah,
about
me and
that.
Danny just kind of, we spoke and we'd kind of been like, I just said to him I just didn't feel I was as busy. Do you know what I mean? Danny Vaughan's amazing, cracking guy. Do you know what I mean? He would also phone you and all, but it was just had so much going on that it was just never like that personal touch, like I said. So I kind of spoke at the activity and they were brilliant. They released my contract, no problem and all that, which was absolutely outstanding. Do you know what I mean?
That's good because that's a lot difficult in boxing.
Yeah.
You find that a lot of disputes and contracts.
Yep.
Fair play to MTK for doing that.
Yeah,
for
they
you.
were class for that. Do you know what I mean? The class set up, and for them to do that was, I can't thank them enough. Do you know what I mean? Because I held that.
Do you feel you're on the right path now?
Yeah, aye, the paths. It's looking bright. Do you know what I mean?
Do you feel that the next few years will be crucial in your development with Ian Wilson, St Andrews? Do you feel you can get you those big opportunities and get you on the big stage? And if it is even on an away show where it be Matchroom, because obviously Cash was with St Andrews and Matchroom, do you feel you might have to go down that similar route to get the fights that you want?
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to need to do that. Like we said when we were walking in, I didn't want to be on the road at the start, but as my career progresses, I want to be fired on a Matchroom show. And put me up. I don't care who it is. Put me up against a super bantam. I don't care who you are. I'm going to beat you. If I turn up and I've devoted myself to the camp and everything's good, I'm beating a super bantamweight. I don't care who you are. I'll beat you. Do you know what I mean? My capabilities and my drive to succeed. I'm not losing. Do you know what I mean?
You'll fight anybody, won't you?
Aye, anybody, I don't care who it is. Put me in with Joshua, man, I'll fight him. Do you know what I mean? I don't care who it is.
Let's talk with you about Scottish boxing. Josh Taylor, a guy you know very, very well.
Yeah.
This man's electrified Scottish boxing, isn't he?
Oh, he's a man. Do you know what I mean? He is a man. It's Josh's a cracking guy. You couldn't meet a nicer boy either. Do you know what I mean? And for to do what he's done, and I think it's been shockingly put aside a wee bit. Like he didn't get nominated for sports personality and all that.
He wasn't giving a fuck, wasn't he?
Wasn't caring,
Aye.
but he wasn't giving a fuck. Like you said, it's a sport. You've just got to go, I fuck yous. Do you know what I mean? But for that to happen, do you know what I mean? You're sitting going, this boy's, and I always say this. It's because we're Scottish. I swear, it's because we're Scottish. We get took lightly. Like, oh, that boy's unified a division and he's leathering people, and he'll keep leathering people.
Especially when he beat Jose Ramirez and he came back and he didn't get the media attraction right when he came back for you, and that's wrong. And as I said it before, I've said it in plenty of podcasts. If that's a Matchroom fighter, Eddie Hearn's got a Queen waiting at Heathrow for him, and I'm telling you, and he's got Frank Smith in a limo ready to drive me back to Preston Pans, feeding him champagne and caviar. It's wrong, but he's got that deal with Sky now. He's the undisputed king. He is the man to beat, isn't he?
He's the man to beat. Aye, he's 100% the man to beat. And like you said, he just never got the recognition after and what I don't understand how they couldn't. Do you know what I mean? But he's a kid. He's a kid in the block, man. He is a man. I
don't know if you agree with me. I think this man's got another 2 or 3 more gears to his arsenal. I think we've not seen the best of him.
No.
I think when he goes to welter, he's got the frame, the stature, and he's got some bottle. This man will fight anybody on his day.
That's it. He's like you said. We've not seen. I don't think we've seen the full Josh Taylor. I don't think we've actually seen. I think he just cruises it and then just ups it a wee bit, and then I think he can go and go and go again. And like you said, when he puts that goes up in weight or whatever, do you know what I mean? He'll be. He's going to cause some waves.
What makes Josh Taylor an elite fighter? What do you see as a fellow boxer? What do you see makes him an elite fighter?
When shit's not going right, how he turns it round. Like I remember watching him against, how do you say his name?
Victor Postol.
Victor Postol. I remember when Victor Postol was catching him constantly with that big jab, man. Jabbing in the left hand, and I'm like, all right. And I remember I went back to the corner and he seemed a bit concerned. And I always remember him just taking a massive breath. And he just, and it was like something just came over him, and he came out and he just started leathering him.
That was the 8th or 9th, wasn't it? And he said that in his post for interview, he buzzed me, but I came back out and
came back out, man, and it was just like, oh nah, let's go. And it was just that change of mind. He has that mind switch where it's just like, nah, yeah, fuck it, it's go time.
Do you believe his brain power and his skill set is on a different level to the junior welterweight division?
Yeah, 100%. There's nobody like it. I don't care if they even match him and kind of the attributes and all that. I don't care if they match him and that boy's got a mindset like no other, and it's a mindset you need. Do you know what I mean? He's just going, nah, you're not fucking beating me. End of story. That's it. You're not beating me.
Well, mate, that's us for the day. I'll leave the stage for you. Anything you'd like to add?
No, not at all. It's been brilliant. I just want to say thank you to you for bringing us on. I think that's class, man.
Anytime, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. God bless.
Thank you. God bless, mate. Thank you so much.